Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, Gyro here. Today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about mobility. How much mobility means in Horrific Visions. And as a background footage, I'm going to use a fresh run of Horrific Vision of Orgrimmar, where I've done a 2-mask run on my Havoc Demon Hunter main, eye level 452. And the cloak rank is 13 at the moment. I'm working my way up to 14 through this lovely week of the Horrific Vision of Orgrimmar. So, mobility. As obvious as it is in terms of its importance to us, I guess we could just agree, all of us, that at a very high level, there are 3 things that are most important to our success in a Horrific Vision or any other solo adventure for that matter. You could talk about Mage Tower from Legion, but it's a little bit late for that. By the way, in the background I'm showing to you that I'm running 2 masks in this video, and it is obviously the easiest masks because I want to upgrade my cloak and get the upgraded gear. So I'm running Dark Imagination and the Burned Bridge. Everything else behind the scenes in the background should be pretty obvious until we enter Valley of Spirits, where I accidentally pull an unnecessary mob, and we will talk a little bit about that additionally. Alright, so 3 things that matter to us as solo adventurers, and Horrific Visions are the most impacted and primary example of that these days. It is mobility, it is toughness, and it is DPS. Toughness and DPS, I think you would agree, come mostly from our item level. So item level contributes tremendously to how much stamina we have and how much primary stat we have on our alts, our mains, and that contributes directly to our damage, because Blizzard, in all their infinite wisdom, they have made all these calculations of exactly how your intellect, for example, translates to DPS, or how your strength translates to DPS, very convoluted. And it is kind of almost mandatory these days, if you take it seriously and if you try to min-max, it is almost mandatory to check and to sim and to go to all those Ask Mr. Robot websites, the ones that I am not using. Just because I'm a casual and I think anything extra, any extra effort that I put into this, turns this a little bit into a job, would you agree? I have suffered from burnout from World of Warcraft before. And I'm very conscious of now being very engaged. Almost every second night I'm playing World of Warcraft and I'm doing Horrific Visions. It's a fantastic piece of content I'm really happy about, and I'm sharing my experience with you guys with this fresh channel. But I'm very conscious of burnout. I don't want to burn out, and I don't wish it upon any of you. And I know a lot of casuals like me, the ones who don't have very social connections in the game, social ties, commitments, guilds, etc. We are more prone to burn out on repetitive or simplistic content. So with this little kind of deviation in mind, I will just come back to the main key topic. So the topic is that the more I run these Horrific Visions, while trying to monitor my burnout, etc., the more I run them, the more I come to the conclusion that it is a lot better, at the very least at our casual item level of about 450, that raised at about 450 for my 2 mains at the very least, for my Demon Hunter and Death Knight. I am very impressed with Death Knight, for example, and I was praising him a lot in the other videos about how Terminator-ish he is, how he can just be a bit slower, but how he pulls much bigger crowds in AoE, how Pet does a lot of work for him, etc. Yes, that still stands. However, I tried, for example, to run Orgrimmar on him this week, which is supposed to be easy, right? But it was not as easy. I even wiped on a 1-mask run on him. I did finish it successfully with 1 mask, but I was not able to, I'll tell you honestly, I was not able to, somehow, to my disappointment and honest surprise, I wasn't able to clear Orgrimmar with 2 masks, just like on this guy, but on my Death Knight. Somehow. Surprise, my friends, surprise. And I attribute this to Death Knight's lack of mobility. But mobility is obviously something that Demon Hunter has an abundance of. This is the main benefit and the main selling card and the main strength of a Demon Hunter. Mobility is not something that comes from item level. Mobility is something that you just have because this is how your class is built. I think the closest class that comes to in mobility to Demon Hunter is the Monk. And I have a Monk, spoiler alert, but he is only about item level 430 and his cloak is something like rank 2, so I'm not even bothering you with insights into those alts, but be aware that I am leveling them in the background slowly in the off time that I have off these mains and off my other primary activities in my life, but we definitely are going to be taking a look at them. So what I'd like to, I just wanted to bring this to your attention as to make this narrative a little bit more varied and not just necessarily telling you what you've already heard about of all these bosses of Orgrimmar and Stormwind and whatever I'm running, but we can just pick one topic that matters. So I am just, for example, let's speculate that the use case is that you have a few alts or maybe just looking to gear up one, and you're thinking that your primary thing is going to be to push Horrific Visions until Shadowlands comes out. That would be for a casual who is aware of the burnout possibility and wants to make it interesting for themselves. I'd say that would be a very legit case that I would be, for example, myself very keenly researching if I didn't have my own opinion about this now, like that I'm sharing with you. So in that case, I would honestly tell you that you probably should look for a high mobility class. You should probably look for a high mobility class. I appear and I am probably very biased when it comes to Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter is my main. He has been since Legion. Only in this expansion and in 8.3, I've kind of blew the dust off my Death Knight, geared him quickly, and somehow was very impressed with Unholy spec that I never played before. I was always Frost before that time, and that was, again, 1.5 expansions ago. So yeah, I would recommend high mobility class because with high mobility comes your chance to get out of dodge very, very quickly, and that becomes, at least in my experience so far at this item level of 450, it becomes very, very, very important. And I'd say very carefully, I would say it's more important than dishing out more damage, and it's more important than being flat out tougher. That is the key message I'd like to share with you in this video. Now, either right here on these bridges or just a few meters in the game forward, somehow, because of this stupid insanity, the ones that spawns those, not the burnt bridge, but the fire ones, the ones that bump you up, the ones that suddenly throw you all over the place, suddenly you have these invisible obstacles and fire under your feet. Those things are more annoying than you think. And maybe ages ago when I was dealing with this in Trade District of Orgrimmar, of Stormwind, that was actually Dwarven District, sorry, not Trade District, it didn't appear to be so offensive and so invasive. But here, somehow, at this stage, I don't know, maybe they tuned it up, maybe I just am in a different phase of playing this content. See, I pulled this girl, who is like a mini boss of sorts. I never knew she existed, and it is thanks to those bloody fiery things that bounce me all around. I would have never pulled her before. I didn't even know where she came from. And she polymorphs you. She is like a mini version of Umbric. Yeah? So I probably could have kicked her and whatever, but I honestly was just like, what? Where did you come from? So please be aware, this is just like a bonus little warning, because I never knew she was there. I never knew that I can pull her somehow, but I did. So yeah, jumping a bit around here in the topic of the conversation, I wanted to keep it just about mobility and give you a few extra examples. One last thing that I'm going to say about mobility, just to kind of have a more informed conversation here, that I'd love to hear your opinion on in the comments down below. Please speak to me. Is that I did check. Remember my last video where I was running Stormwind on my Death Knight? And I cleared it with 1 mask. I know I cleared it with 2 masks on this guy. It's beside the point. But when I cleared it with my Death Knight, I said to you honestly, and I still believe so, it felt easy with 1 mask on Death Knight. There, somehow, it did. And you know why it did? It did for 2 reasons, which were one complementing another. It did because of the Leaden Feet debuff that everybody hates, and it did because of an amazing passive that I've checked, and indeed Death Knights have that passive, which again the name of which, Death's Advance I think it's called, Death's Advance it's called. It's an active ability that speeds up your movement once every minute or something by something, it doesn't matter, but the most beautiful part of it is that that ability gives you also a passive that you can never be slowed down below 70% of your speed. How OP is that, my friends? Come on. Leaden Feet, the one that kills you, the one that where Umbric slows you down with freezing thingos that are flowing from him, right? That alone, that thing, makes Death Knight so much more mobile. Once again, we're talking about mobility here. A class that is more of a Terminator. A class that is more slower paced. He cannot dash around like this. He's not built for dashing around like this. And yet in Stormwind, my Death Knight performed a lot better. And I was wondering why. Like, I did not have a topic for this video. I have not made a 3 chest clear yet to show that to you, but I'm definitely going to be trying, and that's probably what's coming next, if I'm lucky. But I was kind of puzzled with that mobility. I was almost disappointed last night when I was not able to clear with 2 masks with Death Knight, and I was like, I raised my item level, everything is cool, everything should be working. Why is that not happening? And this is why. It kind of all came together when I started thinking about this and did the clear then after on this guy, dashed around a bit, absolutely had no problems clearing with 1 mask, the video that I'm not showing to you because by now it seems like downgrading content a little bit. I don't want to downgrade content, I want to upgrade it for you or talk to you about something new. Yeah, so what do you think, guys? What do you think about this? Do you agree? Excuse me. Would you agree that mobility wins in this content? And again, please stay with me on the fact that we are in casual item level range. Yes, it's being raised even for me because I was lucky with a couple of drops and I did a couple of mythics and stuff which I don't normally do, but I am trying to now reach new heights, so I am pushing myself in other content a little bit. Just takes a little bit of time. But yeah, that's what I wanted to share with you. That's if you would like to treat it as a little recommendation, please do. Always happy to share and always happy to hear your opinion on whether or not you value mobility in a class higher than, let's say, raw damage output, or your ability to simply withstand a lot of punishment. I know that tanks will probably disagree with me, but those tanks who are able to efficiently clear content like this, they are way above 460 as a item level, and I know I slowly approach that threshold myself, but there is still way to go, and I'm definitely not there yet, and my weapons are 445, so there is really nothing to write home about there. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for tuning in to listen to my rant this lovely afternoon. I hope you are going to stick around for 3 mask runs, and once my alts are ready to boast something, I can demonstrate to you a 4 chest run on my hunter, on my Beastmaster hunter, for example. I have demonstrated a 3 chest run. So for your information, I have cleared with 4 chests. I do not have cranial, as in I do not have Gift of the Titans yet, which is why I'm unable to do a full clear just yet. I'm not that much in control of the character. I know I did a full clear without Gift of the Titans. I can't remember, I think on this Demon Hunter or on the Death Knight. Beastmaster doesn't work as well for me, I'll admit that, but this content is definitely coming to you. And just like the rest of the WoW community on Reddit and on MMO Champion Forum, I am anxiously waiting for alpha of Shadowlands, and even if I'm not in it, I'm definitely going to be very closely looking at the content that they release, that they data mine, and obviously with some warnings first. I do not want to spoil anyone who doesn't want to be spoiled. I'm going to issue my warnings, and then I'm going to start revealing sort of my impressions and anything that basically will become known about Shadowlands. So because everyone just kind of places their bets that it should happen, if not tomorrow, then next week, I would encourage you to subscribe if you haven't already. I do not take any of you for granted. It's a tiny channel, but it's growing very, very rapidly for its size. I really appreciate your patronage and that you're stopping by, and some people are commenting and giving me advice. Really love you guys. Thanks very much for joining me tonight as well. And I will talk to you very soon again. See you later.